Namaskar. Myself Dr. Deepti Bish, Professor, Department of Kaya Chikitsa, Faculty of Ayurveda Sciences, Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University, Jaipur. In today's session for class BMS fourth year, we are going to discuss topic hyperparathyroidism. Let's start the topic. Before starting the topic, I would like to have some brief discussion regarding the parathyroid gland. So as you would be know, parathyroid glands are two pairs of glands positioned behind the outer wings of the thyroid, and there are typically four in number, two on each side. The superior two are called superior parathyroid gland, while the lower two are called inferior parathyroid gland. These parathyroid glands share a similar blood supply, venous drainage, and lymphatic drainage to the thyroid gland, and the glands are derived from the third and fourth brachial arches, with superior glands arising from the fourth arch and inferior glands from third arch. So, normal parathyroid glands work like the thermostat in the home to keep blood calcium levels in a very tightly controlled range. When blood calcium level is too low, parathyroid is released to bring the calcium level back up to normal. When the calcium level is normal or gets little too high, normal parathyroid will stop releasing parathyroid hormone. The parathyroid glands are named for their proximity to the thyroid, but they serve a completely different role than that of thyroid gland. So these are the function of parathyroid gland. Two main type of cells which are present in parathyroid gland are chief cells which synthesize and release parathyroid hormone, and another are oxyphil cells which are lighter in appearance and increase with age of unknown function. So what are the functions of parathyroid gland? Major function is to maintain the body's calcium and phosphate levels within a very narrow range so that the nervous and muscular systems can function properly. Parathyroid glands do this by secreting parathyroid hormone, PTH. Parathyroid hormone is a small protein that takes part in the control of calcium and phosphate homeostasis as well as bone physiology. Parathyroid hormone has effects antagonistic to those of calcitonin. In case of calcium control activities, this parath hormone increases blood calcium levels by stimulating osteoclasts to break down bone and release calcium. This hormone also increases gastrointestinal calcium absorption by activating vitamin D and promotes calcium conservation by the kidney. And how they regulate phosphate metabolism? This hormone, that is parath hormone, is a major regulator of serum phosphate concentration via the actions on the kidney. It is an inhibitor of proximal tubular reabsorption of phosphorus. Through activation of vitamin D, the absorption of phosphate is increased. So, these are the basic functions of parathyroid gland and the hormone released from them, that is parath hormone. So, now we will discuss the condition hyperparathyroidism. So, whenever there is a condition when there is overproduction of parathormone. This is called hyperparathyroidism. It is most common in people over age 60 years but can also occur in younger adults. Hyperparathyroidism in childhood is very unusual. Women are more likely to be affected than men. Now, there are three types of hyperparathyroidism. First one is primary. It happens when normal mechanism of regulation by negative feedback of calcium is interrupted, or in other words, the amount of blood calcium would be ordinarily signal less production of parathormone. Most of the time, this is caused by adenomas, hyperplasia, or carcinomas. So this is primary hyperparathyroidism. Second hyperparathyroidism normally occurs in patients that suffer with renal disease. This is secondary hyperparathyroidism. Poor kidney function leads to a mineral de-equilibrium that causes the gland hypertrophy in order to synthesize and release more parathormone. Tertiary hyperparathyroidism develops when the hyperplastic gland of secondary hyperparathyroidism constantly releases parathormone independent of the regulation system. Another condition is hypercalcemia, which refers to a calcium level above 10.5 mg per deciliter. Consequences of this are heart rhythm decrease and extra production of gastrin that causes peptic ulcer. So, common symptoms of hyperparathyroidism. Most of the time, patients may have severe symptoms, subtle ones or none at all. These are feeling of weakness and fatigue, depression, or aches and pain. Patients may have a loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, constipation, confusion, or impaired thinking. Loss of memory may be there. There may be increased thirst and urination. Patient may have thinning of the bone without any symptoms but with risk of fracture. Bony pain and or swelling of bone. Sometimes hematuria is there. Hypertension may be found. Increased calcium and phosphorus excretion in urine may cause kidney stones. So differential diagnosis, which is usually made with three diseases, these are osteomalacia, hyperthyroidism, and neuropsychiatric illness. Complications of hyperparathyroidism are osteoporosis, pathological fractures, renal stone, left ventricular hypertrophy, etc. So, some investigations which are usually done are blood test. Blood test will be done to check for increased levels of parathyroid hormone, that's PTH, calcium, and alkaline phosphatase, and lower levels of phosphorus. 24 hours urine collection test can help to determine how much calcium is being removed from the body. Bone X-rays and bone mineral density tests can help to detect bone loss, fracture, or bone softening. Another investigative tools are X-rays, ultrasound, or CT scans of kidney or urinary tract, and they may also show calcium deposits or a blockage. Now, management. Management depends upon degree of hyperparathyroidism and urgency of situation. Reduced intestinal calcium absorption is treated by reduced calcium intake in diet and oral inorganic phosphate to be given in dose of 0.5 to 3.5 grams per day. First line therapy is maintain hydration with isotonic saline, approx 2.5 to 4 liters per day. Use of furosemide 80 to 100 mg IV every 2 hours and glucocorticoids in dose of 200 to 300 milligrams per day. In acute cases, biphosphonate in the dose of 7.5 mg per kg body weight in 4 hours is very effective therapy, and if patient is not responding to it, metramycin is used in dose of 25 mg per kg via IV route. In life-threatening conditions, calcitonin is given in dose of 100 units per day with close monitoring of parathormone and serum calcium level. If patients have symptoms or their calcium level is very high, then he may need surgery to remove the parathyroid gland. Treatment of secondary hyperparathyroidism depends on the cause. So, some measures are suggested for this. These are a special form of prescribed vitamin D is given if patients have low vitamin D level. Surgery is advised for patients who are suffering from cancer, patients whose hyperparathyroidism is caused by kidney failure may be treated with extra calcium and vitamin D, avoiding phosphate in diet. The medicine Cinacalcet or Sensipar is given. Dialysis or kidney transplant is advised if condition is severe. Parathyroid surgery is advised if parathyroid level becomes uncontrollably high. So, these are basic treatment or management of hyperthyroidism. So, as we have read this, Cinacalcet, the medicine Cinacalcet or Sensipar is a potential therapy for some people with severe hypercalcemia and primary hyperparathyroidism who are unable to undergo parathyroidectomy and for secondary hyperparathyroidism or dialysis. Treatment of secondary parathyroidism with a calcimimetic in those on dialysis for chronic renal disease does not alter the risk of early death. However, it does decrease the likelihood or needing of parathyroidectomy. So, treatment carries the risk of low calcium levels. This was all about parathyroid gland and the condition hyperparathyroidism. In next lecture, we will be covering the topic hypoparathyroidism. Namaskar. Have a nice day.